Tutaenda direct kwa mgeni wetu wa leo. Naona ashajaja kwenye studio. Wapi to see him. Mzee, Major Retired. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Doing good.
Good to see you.
At least this hour in the morning for wazee kama sisi si kazi rahisi.
Pole sana kwa kukwamisha.
Nimejaribu na nikapotea njia.
We're very happy to have you here finally. See you looking all glorious in your wisdom. Unajua unasema ukiona nywele nyeupe ujue ya kwamba hekima iko karibu na wewe.
Asante, nashukuru.
Anasema penye wazee habaribiki neno.
Well, hiyo ni kweli.
So karibu sana kwenye studio. In studio inaitwa Short Connection to the Tackle, and we are very happy to see you.
Thank you.
Asante sana. So wacha nitaanza kwanza utuambie wewe ni nani. Kindly introduce yourself with John Seii.
Asante. Nashukuru. Kwanza ni kusema asanteni kwa kunikaribisha kwa studio yenu. Kwa majina ni John Seii na salonutiki yangu ile wamenipandisha hapa na pale ni kwamba naitwa Major Seii. Mimi natoka upande wa Rift Valley kule Keyo, Marakwet County, kwa line yetu ya Wakalenjin. Mimi ni Mkeyo. Mimi nimekuwa chairman emeritus, ama nimekuwa chairman na founder ya Miot Council of Elders. Sasa nimepeana kijiti ya uongozi na sasa nikapaki na giti ya emeritus. Tena mimi ni deputy chair wa National Council of Elders.
Wow, amazing.
Na nimekuwa member wa BII. Huyo ni Major John Seii.
So Major John Seii. Yes. So ulikuwa Major miaka gani? That must be quite long. That must be really long.
Basi nitakwambia hivi so that wewe unafanya calculation. Ni tangu ni toe nguo zangu za kijeshi ni miaka 38. 38 years. So kwa hivyo ukiniuliza swali hilo nitakupatia nafasi ufanye calculation. Nilikuwa major lini?
That's a very good question. Najua kidogo ilibaki nipate Z kwa mtihani ya hesabu mathematics, lakini I'll try to make those calculations. Well, so with those calculations I believe that you've been in this country long enough, more than everyone who is seated in this room today.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you've seen you've seen all these things that have been happening in the country, and you've been part of the growth of this country. It'll be interesting to know what actually inspired you to be in the military at that time.
Well, I think first of all, siku hizo za ukoloni, we really admired people in uniform. Uniform gave a character. It gave a style. It gave air around the wearer of the uniform. Nilikuwa na uncle yangu who joined the Second World War. So he used to come home in full military regalia. And I used to like the hat in particular because it was slapped on one side and it had a kind of a plume. And I said, when I grow up, I will be like him. And that thing stayed in me all through my childhood in the village and taking care of cows and the goats and the sheep, and until I went to school, and that thing hung around me until 1961, when the military wanted to recruit Africans. And I presented myself, and they said, well, man, you are too young. But it was not the youth. My uncle told me, listen, pursue your studies, join the military later, which was the wisest thing I ever received from a relative in that particular direction. So the military was very much part of my thinking and my psyche. And so when the time came to join the military, it was just, walkover. Nilingia, and I was fit, and I had the passion, and that, opened the gate for me, and accepted in the military, and in those days, even to go overseas for training. That was soon after independence. It was very competitive. But at the end of, we were so many, over 20. And some of us went to Ethiopia, some went to UK for 6 months. And there were those who were supposed to go to UK for 2 years. Honestly, I did not even feel qualified to go to Ethiopia or to go to UK for 2 years. My hesabu ilikuwa nitaenda for 6 months. And of course, my background, I wanted to come home and be with my people. But they chose me and they said, you are going to Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, one of the most prestigious military institutions in the world, like West Point in US.
Wow.
So I went there for 2 years. My friend, that opened my head far and wide.
Ilikufungua akili kabisa.
Lakini wengine walikuwa nasema, okay, you are from Kenya, tumeona coups in Nigeria, coups in Ghana, wapi? Are you going to stage a coup in Kenya? I said, no, I am a loyal citizen. I'm not going to do that. And I tell you, the preparation that I received in that institution was for life.
Wow.
Today, I use it because the foundation was very sound. Yes.
All right. That almost actually, that almost informs us on the fact that what you're going to tell us today is out of patriotism. All right. Now, from your history, it's very clear that then you've seen almost all the phases that this country has gone through. And you know, you've almost seen the problem, even the coup that you're talking about in 1982, you've seen it. So probably you've seen the journey of this country growing from a small republic to what it is today. In your own opinion, what do you think is really the problems that bedevils this country?
Well, I think Kenya haina sura. We when it comes to national ethos, Kenya has no ethics. We are only known as tribal units. We are known as people who are corrupt, people who they don't even give jobs on merit. Tribalism is rampant everywhere. And this really makes me very sad. When I was in the military, one of the institutions that instills discipline, patriotism, and unity are people in uniform, particularly the military, the people in the armed forces. So hii Kenya yetu iko na shida mingi sana. Now, it's not because we want to be where we are today. I think the foundation of the Kenyan nation was not properly thought about, and as such, we started on the wrong foot, and we have not changed. You know, in the military, when you are on the parade and the order is given quick march, if you miss the step, there is something called change step. Kenya has not changed step. We're still marching on the wrong foot. And that is why even wasomi wetu, whether in the area of economics, development, all the rest of it, wanasema, oh, Koreans, sijui nani, kule watu wa Singapore, we were at par at independence. And look where they are today. I'll tell you, the biggest problem is we started on the wrong foot and we did not hatukubadilisha hiyo mwenendo yetu. Tumendelea hiyo na njia ya ukabila, njia ya mtu wangu, njia ya watu wetu, njia ya nani anajua nani. And that messes up a country. And so that when somebody goes to an office, anauliza nani yako kule mtu wangu, nitatafuta nani kule, because kule kupeana service, mtu atakuuliza wewe unatoka wapi, na the minute unasema I come from somewhere, they put you in a pigeonhole somewhere. Anajua hiyo huyo ni huyo. And this has created a spirit of despondency. People wanasema sasa kama sina mtu, sasa mimi nitakuwa namna gani? So these are the issues ambaye hata kwa BBI we looked at it very closely, and we discovered that when it became national ethos, the issue of national ethos, it became more or less the hub of everything else. We talk of devolution, we talk of corruption, we talk of inclusivity, and all these other things. And you see, all of them, it touches the character, it touches the face. Who are we? And And I'm glad that I was part of that team and still part of that team because I saw a lot of things, we saw a lot of things, we heard people, and people were very passionate in what they were saying. And one of the things was saying, sasa, tutafanya nini ili ukabila iishe kwa sababu Msomali kutoka Isiolo or somewhere else akienda kule Eldoret ama Nakuru akitafuta kazi kwanza anauliza sijui kama niko na watu wangu kule niko na nani, akisikia kuna Omar ama Hassan mahali fulani anaweza kutafuta na kusema can you help me? And yet it ought not to be like that.
We all need to be Kenyans.
We ought to be Kenyans.
All right. There have been claims that actually Kenyans, even as you speak about national ethos, which is a very good point that I'm seeing noting from you. But the question is, there have been concerns about the resources, and there has been claims that actually Kenyans fight over resources because every other time they think that people are fighting over maybe land and other things. As we speak about national ethos, where do we integrate resources in changing character?
Well, I think it is the way we value things. I think a Kenyan, as it is right now, as we are talking, kama huna piece of land, whether it is a quarter or a point or 10 acres or 500 acres, you are nobody. That's why mtu anasema ninaenda shambani. That is to say I'm going home. So value ambayo tumeweka material things is so high that it affects even our character. Kama huna shamba, then you are nobody. And I come from a community that if you don't have a piece of land, then people will look down. It's like not having a cow. Mtu anasema hata kama wewe ni maskini, you must have a goat or a sheep. But you have to have a piece of land to graze that goat or sheep or cow. So it is the value. What are we putting value? Tukiweka value our unity as a people, then we will not fight over resources. And of course, the management of the resources, whether it's grass or water or space to do business, the management of all these things is again a challenge in that we have acquired over time a system that tends not to question. Ni kama status quo. Mtu hajaamka na kusema hey, sikizeni wananchi. Let us change our attitude towards these material things. We have become so materialistic to the extent that our pastoral communities, bearing in mind that they go through very difficult climatic changes, when run short of water, short of pasture, and when there is lack of that, then whatever is available, they will fight over it. And because we are still a tribe, kabila fulani, ama clan fulani, so it becomes a question of I am fighting for my people. I fight for my clan, for that water, for that pasture. So it is a myriad of things. Vitu imejaa hapo. And I think, again, I go back. We need to change step. We need to re-evaluate. What is it that we value most? If we value Kenya as a unit, a country that is composed of 42 or 43 different ethnic groups, we need to come up with a way of uniting these people. And we found this in the BII process because we went everywhere, 47 counties. And the BII, we collected information that is enough to change the direction of this country. Yeah.
You'll allow me, I might ask you we are now going to switch gear, and I might ask you very difficult questions. I hope you don't mind, and I hope you'll be ready to answer them in the most honest way. And I hope you're going to have a conversation that's going to help Kenyans, because this is a process that affects every other single Kenyan, and it's important that we have these conversations. I mean, we cannot run away from them. We need to talk about things that we need to talk about, so that even when you spoke about, for the longest time, we've talked about the truth and justice and healing process in terms of reconciling this country. But there are questions that you've never asked. First of all, the questions of resources. What really do Kenyans fight over? Land, you talk about Dungu Land Report, you talk about the Waki Report that talks about land every other time. When you look at the BBI report, for instance, as well, you've not really addressed the issues of land. It's very quiet and silent on it. But anyway, before we delve deeper into that, I want to ask you a question about the background of BBI. You're part of that task force. And the other day, I had the president saying that it was a process, that it was, let's pick these people that sit down and start designing the BBI thing. What is the background? Where did all these things start? And how did you guys find yourselves as a team, and for what reasons?
I think BBI is a product of the handshake, because before that there was nothing. And after handshake, this thing called BBI was sort of crafted, it was formulated, and the direction was given, and that is why 9 thematic areas were given to us. And the process was so fast, in the sense that it took no time. It took no time to form the BBI, and so I would say majority of us, the 14 of us, did not know anything about BBI until we heard over the radio and television and newspapers. And I have no quarrel about that. That was very good. It was a pleasant surprise. And when we embarked on the process, I think we started on the right foot together. The passion and the drive and the need to be part of change in this country, because you see, majority of us ni wazee, over 65, and we have seen a lot. We have agonized over issues in this country, and it became an opportunity for us really to go and collect information. And collecting information, it was like collecting information from myself. This thing was so deep that it was not me, BBI, going to them to collect the information. I was just like saying, I'm going to myself. I don't want to be philosophical when it comes to that, but I was going to myself to collect information. And myself spoke, and myself gave the information, and myself received the information. So it was a fantastic process, and people spoke. Really, I really say I thank God that I never missed any day in those, I don't know how many days, in those days. So I had literally everybody. Na ijapokuwa uzee iko, sometimes you miss it and you say yule secretary wetu ata capture some of the things, utakuja kusoma baadaye. But the genesis ya BBI ilikuwa the handshake, and I dare say there could have been never a better thing than BBI. It was the best, and it's still the best.
So there could be a better thing than BBI or than handshake, because you're saying it's handshake that bothered BBI.
well, I think it is the handshake. Ilizaa BBI. So huyu mtoto ambaye amezaliwa ni mtoto mzuri. Na sisemi kwamba ati nimesahau mzazi, lakini huyu mtoto ni beautiful. Kwa sababu kama mzazi angezaa mtoto ambaye ni kiwete, mtoto ambaye haoni na vitu kama hizo, ingekuwa challenge. But I'm saying huyu mtoto ambaye alizaliwa alikuwa na macho vizuri, miguu na nini, alikuwa wholesome. So BBI ilikuwa wholesome. Yes. Ilikuwa
ama bado ni wholesome?
No, I'm going there.
I know. I don't want to provoke you to answer very directly. But I would also want to ask you a question. I was going through the BBI report, and I'm saying there's someone called Dr. Ken Nyaundi and another guy called Tom Masharia. Who are those people?
Well, those were they were in the team of the experts. Those are people very qualified when it comes to constitutional, legislative issues. They have done these things. They are super guys. The way they did their work, I must say they did it very well. Yes.
All right. So, what was your space in the BBI report, or in the BBI, the whole activity around BBI? What was your role, as Major John was saying?
Well, with the 9 thematic areas, When it came to safety and security, that became my docket. That was my line. Everywhere we went, wakati ilisemekana sasa ni wakati wa kuchambua mambo ya safety and security, I was chairing that session. Yes.
All right. So I would want to rush in very quickly to another discussion. The process of collecting these views, making the document, how did it happen? Would you feel, Kenyans were involved extensively in the collection of views? What was the process? Because they have been argued that the process was almost elite. Like, you guys were setting up meetings in 5-star hotels or 3-star or 4-star hotels and calling in a bunch of people for a conversation. Do you feel it was extensively involving in terms of the real Wanjiku, the person who really needs this document?
I want to say from the word go that Wanjiku was involved. When collecting information right across the nation, with a time span that we were given, we had to sort of budget and say, in order to achieve our objective, how do we do it? Now, we could have asked people to come for a 2-day conference so that we really interact. But time and resources did not allow us to do that. So what happened is every county gave us 20 representatives from each constituency. So if you have 4 constituencies, then we had 80 representatives. And those who came were right across the board. There were women, youth, elderly, people living with a disability, and even professionals. They were there. It was really a blend. And I must say, the way it was done was excellent, because in the discussion, in the auditorium, whatever, and by the way, if a space can be classified as 4-star or 5-star or this and the other, I have not gotten to know that. I know hotels are classified, but we met in church halls, in hotel halls, in institutional halls, whether it was a polytechnic or anything like that, and we met everywhere, right across. And we didn't meet in a very elaborate and very sophisticated place. One, because resources were limited, and we accepted that. And we know, and we knew that we did not have endless resources. And so the budget that had been put in place, it was not in our hands, it was under the management, and we accepted. And at the same time, tulisema, tusifanye hii kitu iwe very expensive. Let this thing be moderate. So, ninataka kusema hivi, Wanjiku alisikizwa. Kwa hivyo wote, professionals, people living with disability,
they were listened to.
I'm telling you, they were very vocal, and they spoke their minds, and they spoke their hearts, and they said, we have never ever had a forum like this where everybody is given the chance to speak, because other forums, it is only identified individuals. We fulani zungumza na ukisikia labda ni MCA, labda ni director fulani, labda ni mjumbe, lakini hapo watu walizungumza.
Alright. So, umesema watu walizungumza, and you've rightly say that there is no session you ever missed in that participation, in those forums. So I'd want to ask you in a very raw way, what were the views of Wanjiku? Tell us exactly, all these forums you went, where did it surround? What were the views? What was it that the Wanjiku really proposed? At the Wanjiku level, kabla hatujafika Nairobi.
Unajua, and let me be very honest with this.
Yes.
Wanjiku in that environment hana structured language, because ni Wanjiku, anazungumza vile ilivyo, anashika hii, anashika ile, namna hii, namna hii. What I would say is, it was the most the degree of freedom for people to speak was very high. So Wanjiku felt accepted. She felt, or he felt at home. And the issues that were really pertinent right across was about the children, youth, tuko na watoto tumesomesha, we have sold everything, wamemaliza masomo, wako nyumbani, and they said, what do we do? Kwa nini serikali haiwezi kupatia vijana masomo? Otherwise masomo ilikuwa ya nini? So the question of youth and employment was, it cut right across. Ya pili, which came out very clearly, was the question of ethos, ethics. Every community yako na cultural norms yao, cultural practices, cultural beliefs, and these are the things that kept people together. It sort of it held the people together so that there is respect, kutoka kwa watoto iende kwa wazazi, na wazazi wana respect wazazi yao. There was a chain of command. Lakini this chain imekuwa broken. So wazazi walikuwa nasema, tutafanya nini? Serikali saidia sisi. Tutafanya nini? Watoto wetu hawasikii sisi. And so it touched the issue of ethos, ethics. Imekuwa totally, not really totally, imekuwa severely eroded kwa nchi yetu. And the other thing was really, they were saying, ukienda mahali fulani kama hakuna mtu ya kusaidia wewe. So they were really complaining about delivery of service. And they're saying, mimi kama mama ama nani nikienda kule kuuliza jambo fulani, I'm not treated well. No one is saying, mama karibu, shida yako ni nini, tukusaidie kwa njia gani? You have to fight your way. So na Wanjiku pale chini ana expect the structure of governance iwe so sensitive to the needs of the people. Mtu akienda pale anapata service, either anaambiwa si hapa, kwenda mahali ingine, ama solution ya jambo lako haijapatikana, so uende urudi siku ingine. They said they felt there was lack of interaction, sort of friendly interaction with the leadership. And they said it right across, whether you are in Mandera or in Busia or whatever. The complaint was the same. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about, let's roll it. Let's go to the document. Now, at what point did Wananchi talk about, let's talk about the issues of governance, for instance, the structure of government. Which areas did Wanjiku want to highlight? Is there any time that Wanjiku came out and talked about the structure of governance?
Not at all. Wanjiku, because in our thematic areas, we were sort of guiding people as to what to discuss. So there was no area where we told people, what do you think about the government? Except when we talked about devolution, Mbaini is such a darling to Wanjiku. Wanjiku anasema hii devolution ni mzuri. Tumeona hata maendeleo. Watu wa mahali kama Mandera wanasema, we had never seen this black nyoka ambaye inatembea kwa street.
Lami, tazama kana.
Ni lami. You know, the kitu, wanashangaa, wanasema thank you to devolution. So mambo ya governance, Wanjiku was not really after that, because even concerns yake were so weighty that they didn't want to talk about either expansion or reduction of the governance structure and the way it is done. So Wanjiku was not very much concerned with that. Yes.
So Wanjiku, there's no Wanjiku who stood and said, okay, now we want a PM, we want a deputy prime minister, we want this and that.
Let me tell you,
or we want more MPs.
Their issues are, they are beyond that. Wanasema hiyo ni ya kasi ya somebody else to discuss about it. In any case, hawajui genesis ya hiyo office. Hiyo MP walifanya namna gani, MCA ilibuniwa namna gani. All those structures we at the top here begin to, walipoanza kuzungumza mambo ya structure, yani ya kusema tunataka hii ongezwe nini na nini. Most of it ilikuja, I would say 90%, I may not have the figures correctly, silikuja in these KICC forums where individuals or groups of people, political parties, civil society, women groups, those are the people who raise the issue and say, oh, tunataka hii badilishwe, tunataka hii ongezwe, so that everybody feels included. Otherwise kule nje.
So kule nje kwa Wanjiku does not feel excluded anyway.
Wanjiku hakusema anything like that because I think Wanjiku anataka service delivery. That is all. Na hajui kwamba hawezi kusema kama prime minister ama kama nani angekuwa hapa angenipatia hii. Those things are beyond.
Those conversations were not there.
No, they are not there.
Okay. Yeah. So mwananchi issue zake ni service delivery, lami ifike nyumbani, resources ifike nyumbani, akuwe na shamba, watoto waende shule, wapate kazi. There was no point where they talked about we want a bigger government or more representation.
Not at all.
No single point.
Not at all.
All right. Okay. Let's talk about the first draft, Boma's draft that came out before this other one. What was it all about?
Well, I think in this session, I would like to say with reservations, I don't want to say a lot. But one thing that came out very clear is BBI 1. Bomas 1.
Yes, that's the Bomas 1. Yeah, kwanza. Ndio tunataka tukalie kwanza. BBI 1. Yes. Let's mark it 1. BBI 1. Because I think they're even good. We almost get into 3. So let's mark the BBI 1.
It came out in we captured the spirit of Wanjiku. We captured the spirit of the elite. And when the summary was given, the entire hall and those who heard from distance, they said, yes, this is what we wanted. And the acclamation, okay, it gave us a kind of a feeling that that we did our work well. Hiyo acclamation kusema kwamba hii ni report nzuri, it is because it was very rich. We captured the spirit. Anybody reading it would also identify with himself or herself. And if somebody from Isiolo or from Lodwar akisoma anasema, yes, this is a reflection of what we said. So it was very rich. It was well written. And that is why watu walisema hiyo ni mzuri sana, kama iko namna hiyo tutaendelea ku support this document called BBI. Yes.
So that was the first, that is what you feel you owned it. Yes. You owned the BBI 1. Yeah. That's what you feel you owned. Yeah. So what happened to the BBI 1?
Are you talking of BBI 1 or BBI 2?
The BBI 1, what happened to it?
Well, of course, after it was presented and accepted, there was but lakini.
Yeah, from the proponents.
That lakini, and of course in a democratic space like this, kila mtu is entitled to his or her own views, and I think the view was accepted that we need to validate. Unajua hii validation is sawa, lakini you validate kitu ambayo umeweka question mark. Validation ni kurudi kwa watu na kusema, okay, this is what we have written, but is this what you told us? Wacha waseme ndio, hii ni vile tuliwaambieni, ama mulikosea kona fulani, muongeze. So for us, that was validation. Kuenda kule. Na tuliambiwa mwende, but before we embarked on a structured validation process, I think I have no really authority to say anything on this. Things went the way they went, and it became a kind of a public rally, and of course there was delegate meeting before the public rally, and so we from the BBI group felt we were left out, or we were not sort of briefed on what to do with this. But the people who are from the team of experts who were given to us were actually given assignment, and some of us who came from different places, we were told to receive the memorandum from the delegates before the what you call public rally. Anyway, the validation process did not really follow a pattern that we as BBI would have developed. Kama tungepewa hiyo nafasi, nafikiri tungechukua mkondo ingine. Lakini ikachukua mkondo ingine, tukasema sawa. Hatuwezi kubishana, wacha iendelee namna hiyo. Na ikaendelea na hatukuwa na shida yoyote.
Ndio tumefika hapa. Sasa tuko kwa BBI 2. Umesema process ya kwanza ilikuja, mkasema haya asante sana. And in fact when the BBI the first BBI report came out, there are people who really opposed it, and the people who opposed it majorly are the people who are proposing the BBI report, and are saying no, this is not what we are looking for. But anyway, quickly moving forward, now we move to BBI 2. Tell us about the process of BBI 2.
Let me tell you one thing. You saw the 9 thematic areas we were given. Watu kule nje, they were not prepared for it because it did not really, the agenda was not collectively prepared. It was, it came out of experts, people who have really studied governance, economics, and all these other areas. So, wakati BBI 1 ilitoka, some people who are expecting certain things, they say, oh no, hii si mzuri kwa sababu haijacover this and this and the other. But they forgot that we had 9 thematic areas. And those 9 thematic areas kept us on track. We didn't want to lose the direction. Nafikiri watu wengi walishindwa hapo kuelewa kwamba hatungeweza kuenda outside what we were given. And that is why watu wengine walisema oh nini. So when it came to BBI 2 and all along and up to now, sisi wote, mimi particularly, I am saying it for myself, kwamba nilijua hii process ni process mzuri, and whatever happens hata ipitie wapi, tulikuwa tumelay foundation. Na hiyo foundation ilikuwa very sound. There was no issue at all. I would own it today, tomorrow, and forever. And so when the BBI 2 report was grafted and finally written, don't forget now it was supposed to now go into areas of constitutional issues, legislative issues, na administrative issues. Unajua in the BBI 1 hatukusema vitu kama hizo. So this was really the climax of the report, to give the report now the way forward. Because now to say, okay, these are
you're going to implement.
Legislative issues, constitutional, and all the rest of it. And it was the experts, they did that job very well. Of course, we, the original 14 plus 2 secretariat, since we had gone around the country and heard what Wanjiku said, what everybody said, the team of experts, when they joined us, they didn't have that spirit of BBI 1. They did not know what Wanjiku says and feels outside there. They found a document and they had to work on it. So professionally, they worked on it. And, dissected na kusema hii nyama inaenda hapa, ile ingine inaenda kule, and all the rest of it. Which, sisi kama BBI, we did not have that know-how. And so we wanted them to do it for us. And they did it, and wakamaliza kuandika your report.
Okay. So that is the BBI 2. So do you think the documents are the same? BBI 1 and BBI 2, are they the one and the same documents that you released?
Well, I just want to reserve my comments on that.
I wish you don't reserve. It's important that you don't reserve them.
Reservations is not out of fear. No. Also, I have a conscience, and without my conscience, I'm not complete. But what I just want to say is, BBI 2 is a good report, but there was only one element, only one. We were not given any moment, any day, any time to read it. we read the first report from page 1 to the end, and we said, yes, this is what we captured. This is what we want to run with it as we go forward. But BBI 2, the only issue I have with it is not even the content mainly. It is the process that we were not allowed. We were not. There was no time. Let me put it that way. We met on a Friday, and we were supposed to present the document on a Tuesday, which meant it had to be worked over the weekend.
Mzee, would you allow me to disrupt you a bit on the same thing? You say there was no time for you to go through the report, but you are the people who are making the report. Who was making the report between? I mean, there was someone else who was making the report and bringing it to you to go through. I thought you were part of the process of making this report. All of you.
No, I think it's good. I'm very happy for you to ask that question. It's a very, very good question. But I want you to know that in March this year, when the BBI team and the team of experts were sort of joining forces to write the final BBI report, COVID struck and the doors were closed. Sasa sijui nani alikuwa wapi. I have no idea who was where.
Amukwenda wote nyumbani?
No, let me tell you this. Sisi wote, by assumption and also by trust, I believe that everybody alienda nyumbani. We all went home. Na tulifungiwa nyumbani March all the way to September. So when we regrouped, we were told that we have time constraint, and there were a lot of things to be done. And so really, we were not given time to really go through it. Na kusema zile ambayo zilikuwa zimeandikwa in the BBI 1 is everything together with the new ones. There is it in the report. So there was no nafasi at all, because wakati tumeitwa after, it was not COVID was still there, but I think movement imekuwa loosened, and that is why we came. So strictly speaking, there was no time, and we were told we are running out of time. We don't have time. And so we accepted and say, well, kama hakuna time, si ndio kila mtu amefanya kazi yake. Sisi kwa upande wetu,
mlijua BBI 1 ndio
tunajua BBI 1. Sasa tunataka experts watuletee sasa vile wame dissect the report na kusema sasa hii area itaenda this ya constitution, hii itaenda legislation, and so forth and so forth. That's all we were waiting for. But we believed totally that our BBI 1 it remained intact, because there was no area of change other than addition. Because katika validation hatukusikia mtu ambaye alisema mulisema tunataka 500 seats in parliament, or tunataka to reduce or to add or to do. There was nothing like that. So because that area was silent, sisi tukaamini ya kwamba kila kitu iko sawa. Mpaka sasa mwisho ya process ambayo tunaambia sasa hakuna time is to give. Now don't forget, we were governed by time. Time was really an issue right from the word go. Wakati hata tulikuwa appointed, tukapewa a certain period of time, tukafika tukaona hatuwezi maliza, tukauliza for extension, wakatupatia, na waliona kweli kumbe hii kitu is heavier than it was previously planned. So wakati sasa tunakutana baada ya hii COVID lockdown, tunaambiwa ya kwamba peana report, inatakikana iende haraka. Hata kwa upande wetu tulikuwa tunataka hii kitu iende so that watu wanapata hii report na serikali and its structures and systems waanze sasa tafuta way forward in terms of implementation.
All right. Yeah. So So nikuulize mzee, the issues of mambo ya issues za the BBI report as you spoken about it, the participation. So wakati mliambiwa mutoke jikoni ipikwe, ni nani walibaki jikoni kuendelea kupika? Waliambiwa corona imefika, let's go home, the report is has been given out, the first report. Who are these people who remained in the kitchen?
No, I don't think tunaweza kusema ati mtu yeyote alibaki kule jikoni. Na fikiri kila mtu alifanya kazi yake. So hakuna mtu kule jikoni.
Because you are saying muliletewa report, mkaambia ndio report. Ni nani hao walikuwa wametengeneza hiyo report?
Na wakati wametengeneza mambo ya kusema hii itaenda constitution nini vitu kama hizo. Hiyo ikawa tabled very briefly, and we were doing it in summary form, moving very fast. Faster than any other process we had had before. And we were aware that time is not on our side. Whether somebody alikuwa nasukuma time, we really do not know. And I don't want to go there. But lakini sisi tulikubali kwamba time is not on our side. So we better move fast and get this thing done.
Get this thing done.
So hakuna mtu jikoni, kila mtu alikuwa anafanya wewe anafanya hapo, unafanya namna hii, sisi wote tulikuwa tunafanya pamoja. Na yule ambaye alikuwa anafanya upande wa expert kind of sector, they brought it to us na kusema itaenda namna hii, tungeonelea hii, hata tukachangia tukasema hapana, can you change this, can you change that, na tulikubaliana. And so for me, I do not envisage a moment where somebody was cooking something and we do not know alitumia pot gani kutengeneza hiyo pot ambayo ilitumiwa, sisi wote tulikuwa kule ndani.
Okay.
So ownership ni kwamba the report is ours. The report is ours. Lakini we can kuna hiyo sasa space ya kusema kwa sababu it was not given time. And the harassment of time. Time ilikuwa a monster to us. Sometimes, tunaambiwa sasa tutafanya namna gani. Na hata sisi tunakubali kwamba hatuna time. So unajua kuna msemo unasema hurry has no blessings.
Okay.
Haraka haina baraka. Okay. So hiyo ikawa victim ya hiyo haraka ambaye inaanza kukosa baraka.
So let me ask you, wacha nikuruhusu kunywa maji kwanza kidogo alafu turudi. Alright, mnasikia mzee ile mambo anasema inaitwa the tweetable statements that are coming out. So I hope you guys are taking notes on what is going on. Kama uko na swali pia you can throw it in, alafu ndaweza kuangalia. Naona comments ziko mingi, lakini I'll try to pick what I can pick ambayo labda sijauliza. Kama kuna swali sijauliza na nitaona hapo kwenye comment, I'll pick it up. Alright, mzee, niko hapa na BBI. I have the BBI report here.
Yes.
With me. I think Wakenya wanaiona.
Yes.
This is the BBI report that you guys submitted, right?
Correct.
This is, I can see your signature somewhere.
Yes.
So you can ascend that this is the report.
That is my personal, it's not a copied, neither is it what do you call it? Hakuna mtu aliniandikia.
Hakuna ukarabati ile.
Hiyo ni yangu.
Hiyo ni yako kabisa.
Hiyo ni yangu.
Now you can say that you signed it and you say this is a document that you wanted to represent to Kenya. All right. So on a scale of 10, how do you hold this document? Your satisfaction about this document that you signed to be handed over to Kenyans?
I think in terms of, you have to break it down and say, in terms of information, a scale of 10, what do you give? Now, unasema in terms of time given to go through it, out of 10, what do you give? So
you even assisted me, but
so that the thing is balanced.
Yes, all right.
And so I would say, in terms of
let's start with the content.
Yeah,
the content.
Now, the content. This is what I'll say. I did not read the final report,
which is this document.
That
I have with me. All right.
Yes.
So out of 10, what will you give it on the content?
Well, I would, in terms of content, I would say 50-50.
50-50. So that is 5. That is 5 out of 10. Yeah. All right. Let's move to the process. Out of 10.
I think the process, I'll give you a story.
Give me a story.
Kuna mtoto alitumwa kwenda kumsaidia jamii fulani. Na huyo katika hali ya kusaidia alilishwa vizuri, akavalishwa vizuri, aliona upendo, akaona kwamba kweli anakubalika. Na mtoto huyu akafanya kazi vizuri, akala vizuri. Lakini mara ya mwisho kabla ya term yake kuondoka, kulitokea shida. Na mtoto akalishwa na something unpalatable. Na hiyo ilikuwa flies. Ilitokea shida hapo, kwamba chakula ikabadilika ikawa flies.
Inzi sasa.
Inzi kabisa. So alafu mtoto akaambiwa sasa term yako imefika, uende. Akapewa vitu vya kwenda naye nyumbani. Alienda amevalishwa vizuri. Mtoto kufika kule ameonekana kweli mzuri nini. Akaambiwa maneno ilikuwa namna gani kule. Kasema ile inzi tulilishwa nayo ilikuwa kitu ya ilistajabisha mimi. So mzazi akapick on that. Akasema mulilishwa na nzi. Na hata hakuuliza, hata kulishwa na nzi ukanenepa namna hii, ukawa healthy namna hii, ukawa mzuri namna hii. Lakini the word nzi ili change the whole thing.
The whole process.
So sometimes things happen and they go the right way. Alafu kitu kadogo tu
inaharibu kila kitu.
Inaharibu the not kila kitu, the spirit. You see, because huyu mtoto wakati ametoka about flies, mtoto ako healthy, amevaa nguo nini, you know. So that small thing inaharibu the spirit around it.
Kwa chakula ni appetite sasa, inaharibu
appetite. If you want to put it that way. So kwa hivyo what I'm trying to say here is, you see, this report ya BBI, it's a very good report and I own it.
You own it.
I own it, and that's why nilisign. But nilisign out of trust. Mimi mwenyewe niliuliza jamini, how can we sign something ambaye hatujaisoma? We wanted really to go through it. And that is the way things are done. Even katika memorandums yote ama agreement papers and things like that. Unapewa nafasi kusoma. Na unasema yes, this is what we agreed on. This is what we believe in. This is what tulisema tutafanya. But this one took a very interesting twist. And the twist hapa again, whether kuna mkono ya mtu siwezi kusema, lakini mkono ya time iko hapo. Because we were not given, na kusema hakuna time ya kusoma, because within 2 or 3 days hii kitu lazima ipeanwe na lazima iende kwa printers. So time became a monster. And whether somebody alikuwa ametengeneza namna hiyo, that one I cannot comment. But for me, I stand on this. Kama wale wengine walisoma wakaenda through, then I will use somebody's phrase. I'm a slow learner.
You've accepted me now, a slow learner. All right, another question. So I want to ask you 2 last questions.
Yes.
Now, the second one is on time. You said you're not given time to read the report. On a scale of 10, what score do you give that?
Sorry?
On a scale of 10, for the time you said you were not given time to read the report. Yes. What is your scale out of 10 on that?
I think, other than seeing the space for my signature, we didn't have time even to open page 1, 2, 3, 4 mpaka mwisho. Yeah. So really, seriously, that is a true fact. That is now Major Seii talking. Maybe some other guys who are faster than me walienda wakafanya tu wakasoma haraka wakaangalia wakasema iko hiyo. And all along there has been a measure of high level of trust. We trust each other. we trusted our technical team. Tulikuwa na technical team. Among the 14, we had a technical team. And these were the guys who really wali burn the midnight oil. Kwenda through things here and there na kuangalia iko namna gani. That is why BBI 1 came the way it did.
Na mlifurahia.
Tulifurahia. Sasa inaonekana kwamba midnight oil haikuchomwa kwa hii ya pili.
Labda ilichomwa kurekebisha ya kwanza.
Labda ilimalizika. But you know, a remark I need to make here is the BBI 2, the BBI 1, ile section ya explaining and giving information on what people said, what concerns were raised, and so forth and so forth. It was a very thick document. It was over 100 pages. Lakini hii sasa imekuwa reduced to about not many pages. In fact, if you go to any thematic area, it's just 2, 3, or 4 paragraphs. And so somebody who does not have the BBI 1 gets lost kwa sababu ile spirit ya BBI 1 ilikuwa ikawa reduced. So there was no meat. There's no flesh. And flesh is what wananchi wanataka kusoma. This BBI 2, I would say it's only msomi ambaye anaweza kuelewa, anaweza ku-extract information. And here we are saying, Wanjiku, here is BBI 2, kwenda soma. There is not much that somehow Wanjiku may find it difficult to understand. I think what is clear in this BBI 2 is the structure of the way forward. Kitu gani itaenda kwa constitution. Now wana mention our constitution yetu, current constitution, wanasema chapter fulani, kipengele fulani, nini namna hiyo wametengeneza vizuri sana, kila kitu imekuwa sawa. Na hapo Wanjiku hata haielewi. Kwa sababu it is somebody ambaye ataenda kudiscuss, itaenda kule parliament, ama itaenda sasa kwa referendum. Hata kwa referendum Wanjiku anahitaji kufunzwa kabisa.
Civic education.
The only problem iliyoko ni Wanjiku anaanza kusema, kumbe hii ni ile maneno tulisema. Na kwa sababu hakuna time kule kwa Wanjiku ajibiwe
yes or no.
So inakuwa very difficult situation na Wanjiku wako nayo. So BBI 2 imepoteza the flesh,
the spirit of BBI.
We want to go to the spirit or the flesh or whatever. That is
it lost it in between. So do you endorse this document for the wananchi? Do you feel this document is enough tupeleka kwa wananchi tuseme sawa petition?
I think in my own conscience, time given for civic education is so short that it is not fair Wanjiku afike ile kiwango cha kuulizwa is it yes or no. Mimi binafsi nasema yes, the document iko sawa. Lakini the time plan or timetable ya civic education, it is too short. Kwa sababu Wanjiku ama wale ambao wanafundisha civic education, I'm not very sure kama wamepewa BBI 1 because BBI 1 is a reference book. Inaweza kuwa reference book because it explain a lot of things. Lakini kama itakuwa tu hii BBI 2, nasema the area that I see ni kwamba time ipeanwe. Enough time ipeanwe so that Wanjiku anaelewa. Kwa sababu you talk about ethos or you talk about mambo ya ethnic antagonism, you talk about prosperity na sharing of resources and corruption and all the rest of it. There is need Wanjiku aone kwamba yale maneno tulimuuliza yeye mara ya kwanza sasa imepelekwa namna hii. Na nafikiri sijaona content ya civic education. So siwezi kusema anything about the content. But for me personally, time is the issue. Na hiyo time isipopeanwa ya kutosha, itakuwa the same problem sisi watu wa BBI suffered when we were told, sorry, there is no time, sign this document in trust, kwamba hakuna kitu, kila kitu iko sawa.
Hakuna kitu iliongezwa ama kutoka.
Sasa sisi tukasema okay, sawa, wacha iwe namna hiyo. So mimi nataka tukusema timetable this process ambayo imeanzwa, ongeza time.
It needs to be reviewed.
Yes, kabisa, it needs to be reviewed.
All right.
Yes.
The elephant in the room, the signatures that you assigned here. And yesterday you made some claims in some media station, and I can see there are some signatures here which look almost the same. First of all, from the background, you've already said that there was an issue in signatures in terms of mliambiwa andikeni kitu, msaini kitu haraka iende. Trust us, we are very good people. We have not added or removed anything. Weka kidole iende. Ama huko nyuma sema weka blue. So these signatures almost look the same. This one for a gentleman called Mr. James Matundura and a gentleman called Bishop Lawi in Matthew. They look the same. The two signatures look the same. Another signature for Dr. Florence Omosa, who is a member, doesn't look like a signature of a doctor, for me, in my own opinion, because there's a way you'd see how signatures would come about. For Dr. Florence Omosa, inakaa ni kama kidogo ilikarangwa. Doesn't look almost genuine, especially for that person. Let's look for the signature for I think this doesn't look so bad. For is it Dan Mwangi? Ambassador Martin Kimani, I still find it a bit fake and weird. For Paul Mwangi, it looks good. Archbishop Sakayas, it looks good. Bishop Njenga, looks good. My son Leshomo, it looks also like the other one for Koa Kenya. Ilo alikuwa anasema alikuwa amechora ng'ombe. Major retired Seii, inakaa sawa kabisa. Na umesema mwenyewe ya kwamba uliweka. Mrs. Agnes Kavindu Muthama, the signature also looks a bit suspicious. Take us through the signing of this document. Who signed and who did not sign? I'm not a signature expert. I'm just trying to give my own views from a layman's point of view. These are things that have been raised. It was raised when the document was handed over in Kisii, and I can still raise them. And I'm sure if I give this document to still go through it, and you'll realize that there's a problem. Or if you give it to these guys, I think these guys they're almost 5 in this room. If I give it to them, they'll still pick up the signatures that I've picked out. Take us through the signing process.
Let me tell you one of the talk. Yule mwenye kusema ni kweli ama uongo ni mwenyewe. Individuals, because I'm not an expert in the handwriting style, nitasema hivi, kila moja wameona hizo signatures, and it is up to the individuals kusema hiyo signature si yangu. Juzi nilikuwa mahali fulani, na somebody who was ahead of me, or somebody ni mtu ambaye ni nasema it is who. Na hiyo signature yake aliweka, hata mimi nikaangalia huyo mtu. Nikasema, how can he sign signature yake namna hii jamani? Lakini signature ni uso ya mtu. Na huwezi kusema huyu ako na long nose, huyu ako na short nose, pua lake imeenda pana, mdomo is wide, meno iko nje. Signature ni ya mtu binafsi.
So kuna possibility ya kwamba watu wawili wanaweza kuwa na signatures zinafanana.
Let me tell you, that's why kuna identical twins.
Mzee, you are being smart. Anyway, sawa tuambie.
So tuache tu hiyo siwezi comment.
But anyway, okay, take us through the process of because you said, and I've heard you mentioned it, and you seem to have a lot of grievance with the signing process. They were processing the way these signatures are acquired. Like, okay, mletoa mkaambiwa wekeni kidole, trust us and all this and that. You've also mentioned that there are people who refuse to sign.
Well, sisemi ya kwamba kuna watu walikataa. In that process of being told hatuna time, sign this document, kuna watu ambao walisema jamini, how can we sign na hatujasoma? Na kweli, and they were, the situation was not conducive to really raise a voice of objection na kusema wacha to let us go through it and we sign it tomorrow. Because I dare say the timing was so awkward, and whether it was planned by somebody or it was just by freak of time, I really do not know. But the when we said, and I say on behalf of quite a number of people, I don't need to name anybody, but sisi tulisema, how can we sign something ambaye hatujasoma? And all along in the process ya collect views and so forth, we were reminded that jameni, there will come a time ambaye mtaweka hii document kidole. So make sure that you go along with the process and you understand what is going on. So that when it comes to the time of signing it, you don't raise issues just simply because ulikuwa skip a meeting or skip a session or something like that. So we were aware that at one time signature yetu itahitajika. So we were alive to it, and so we were quick every time I want to read, so that when it comes to signing, I can sign because I've read it. But the last one, and I've agonized over it even on this media, na zile zingine, kwamba we were not given time
to go.
And the argument was, jameni, hatuna time. Trust us. We are, hakuna kitu imebadilishwa ama hakuna kitu imekuwa namna hii. But the point here is, it was not the question of kitu imebadilishwa. It is also question of ownership. You read and you say, this is me. I've written this thing, na kubali nitaweka kidole. Lakini mtu ambaye anakupaswed na kusema, jameni,
weka tu. Hii mada tutaongea mbele.
Let us trust each other. No, hata mambo ya kusema tutaongea mbele, it was not there. Tuaminiane. And that is why my signature is there. And it was not because of anything else. It was because of this practice of read before you sign. And sikuwa na hangover anything else, but I just wanted to say, I want to own the document, and nikisema,
you read
yes,
it,
yes, this is me.
Yes. I agree with that.
Hata ukienda kwa lawyer, wakati vitu ama anybody else ambaye lazima una sign a paper, wanakuambia umesoma, umeelewa, unasema ndio. Hata wanaweka kidole yao, wanasema weka hapa, ama wanaweka X kwa kalamu, wanasema weka signature yako hapa. Ni kwa sababu umesoma, umeelewa, unasema ndio. Now, in this case, taking that very simple illustration I've given, we didn't have we didn't have time. And really no one had time. Nobody alikuwa na time, because we were supposed to give the report the following week. Now, my argument is this: why didn't we meet on Tuesday? Why didn't we meet on Tuesday, so that we have Wednesday, Thursday, and then sign it on Friday? Well, somebody may say, labda kulikuwa kwa vitu ambayo tungeraise na kusema hii, atukusema hii,
na ingechelewesha report.
Na sasa ingechelewesha report. So whether that was the purpose or what, I think it is not neither here or there. I think the issue is signature ya Meja Seii iko pale, na Meja Seii amesema kitu. So kitu yangu tu ni kusema hii document ninakubaliana nayo, lakini sikupewa nafasi ya kusoma kwenda through. So now, I'm not claiming that I've gone through the document.
As you speak, have you managed to go through the document?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even at this point,
yeah. The only why I sort of reacted is when the issue of 70 constituencies, meaning additional 76, additional maybe over nearly 300 wards, our whatever we discussed in BBI 1 or even BBI 2, tulikuwa tunasema tusiongeze mzigo, tupunguze mzigo. Sasa hii ingine sasa touch my hand nikasema tumeongeza mzigo ambaye we cannot, mtu akisema kwa nini mliongeza mziko, mimi sina a way of arguing. Nitasema tu okay, collectively we have failed wananchi, collectively we have failed wananchi. But the thing is, it's good to vent sometimes. Kusema kitu ili ijulikane. Yes.
Alright. So kwa hivyo hujaweza kupitia hii document
hii nimesoma, lakini all the details ya kusema hii na
hujakalia vizuri.
Sijakalia.
You need more time to still digest.
The only problem, the only issue, going through 9 thematic areas, it is so thin that that somebody who is reading it for the first time, hawezi find out what is going on. That is my
the original themes were not captured.
No, the original ilikuwa abridged. Na I don't know why it was abridged. Kwa nini? I wanted in this report watu wasome vile walisema. Lakini ikawa summarized, summary. And for me, I felt uncomfortable with it, because Wanjiku hata akijaribu kusoma hii report hawezi kuona mbele wala nyuma, kwa sababu the thing is very thin.
All right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question on there have been complaints that have come out so far since the report came out, and there are groups that are complaining. There are so many recommendations about zilipeana na groups kama kanisa, pastoral regions, wa mama, there's women, kuna wale pia KMPDU na different, the disabled and other people living with disabilities. Na wanasema ya kwamba hazijatokea kwenye report. What they gave out, the recommendations they offered to the task force have not been captured in this new report. The pastoralists are complaining, the church is complaining, some communities are complaining. So even so, Olekina and people like Duale, they are saying all those things that they gathered on the task force have not been captured in the report. What's your feeling on that?
My feeling is that these groups work on a right to complain, because opportunity was given. Some walipeana verbal presentation, wengine walipeana written. Na I think kila kitu kama report lazima wakosoe, wakiona kwamba they are not there. And I know very well wale ambao walikuja KICC ama other places na wakapeana presentation yao. Imagine even Korea community, for example. They came with a formidable delegation, and they just wanted a county of their own. And they were walilalamika, tumekuwa marginalized, tumekuwa this and this and this and this, wakapeana. Watu wengine kutoka northeastern pande wa Wajir, churches, youth walipeana their own presentations, even kina mama. So these reports, unajua, let me tell you, you know, psychologically, ukitaja jina langu, if you acknowledge my name in the presence of other people, even if you don't do anything more than acknowledging me, I will leave that place good, that I was recognized in that meeting. It may not add any value, like in psychologically, I feel counted, that I matter. Vile watu walisema all sorts of things. Na tuka promise kwamba we have captured the people from Mount Elgon, the suburb people. They agonized over lamentation yao, problems ambao wako na. They feel marginalized, they wanted this, they want that. You know, and every you think of any small groups like the Okiek of Mao Forest, walikuwa na mambo yao. So when you don't capture that in what we would call the final report, then definitely people will rise up and say, na mimi niko wapi? Mbona hamuja recognize? Even if there was no action. For example, those who wanted additional counties, tukasema hatutaki kuongeza muziko. So we acknowledged their concern. But we did not recommend for
additional seats.
Lakini wanajua kweli BBI walisikia malalamiko yao, wakaona. Kuna mzee mmoja ambaye alilia, sijui alikuwa mzee ama mama, hapa Nairobi Laiko Hotel, from I don't want to even to say the ethnic community, lakini they were so pained, na wakasema, nyinyi watu wa BBI mtaokoa sisi, sisi tuko kwa shida, mpaka mama akalia, na akasema, I don't know how I'll get home, because watu wetu wengine wanasarau sisi kiasi, wakituona watatumaliza. So they also want to that thing to have been captured. Pastoralists walisema tuko na shida mingi sana, and so why all these people are talking is because na vile nime-admit sijaenda through kuchambua vizuri mpaka nione. Unajua some things inaweza kuwa hidden in a phrase or in a sentence, but as you have put it, kila mtu alikuwa anataka recognition, even if there is no action. Aone kwamba kumbe ile maswali yao ama malalamiko yao imeandikwa mahali fulani.
Alright. I just want to pick a few themes on terms of representation in the BBI report. A few groups or proposals that were made by a few groups. I'll start with the farmers because that's where you come from. Guaranteed minimum returns on farmers. Where is the space of the farmer in BBI?
Si ndio nimekuambia
huko ndio unatoka. Wazo ukishuka nyumbani hivi utaulizwa, mzee, ulienda BBI, wapi mambo yetu ya ukulima, wapi ya mahindi, wapi ya maziwa, wapi ya ngano?
That is why pastoralists wamejitokeza kujitetea, so that wajiku kule chini wasiseme viongozi walisahau wao. Walisema tulisema na it has not been captured, and unless it is done. Na mambo ya agriculture ni, of course, in our 9 thematic areas we didn't want to be sidelined by certain issues, lakini kwa farming community walisema mambo ya input na mambo ya price ya their produce, it must be considered by the government. Government lazima ichukue hatua na kuhakikisha farmer ame benefit from his sweat. Of course, so hiyo swali
ilienda na daraja ya kwanza. Ikivuka mto ilikunywa maji ingine. I know you'll have a very hard task explaining to your people how they are not in that BBI report. But anyway, let me also move to the next theme, because I think you've already, and I think that's part of the reason why you could be actually coming out and saying, okay, maybe we need to think and look at these things, this thing in a better way. So the farmer, I feel the interest of the farmer has not been captured. And I know you'll have a very difficult time back home explaining why those aspirations are not captured. And I'm pretty sure that in your sittings, the meetings that you did in Eldoret on Wasingishu, for instance, those are some of the issues that came out from Wanjiku as a farmer. So it'd be interesting to see how that turns out. Now, let's move to the next thing about inclusion. And you mentioned that the things that this country has been grappling with, first of all, is ethical issues, that is ethos, national ethos. And also, you mentioned that Wanjiku never had an issue with inclusion, executive inclusion or governance inclusion. Do you feel now we are going to have a more united country with an expanded executive, in your opinion?
Nafikiri ukitaja hiyo expanded executive, I guess you are talking of the Prime Minister.
Yeah, the Prime Minister,
the two deputies. Let me tell you, unajua sometimes kukiweko ugonjwa ambaye you do not know exactly the right prescription. Hata ukienda kwa daktari, sometimes you go to him, anakuambia, hii headache imekuwa hapo kwa muda gani? Umesuffer for how long? Does it affect this and this and this and the other? Anajaribu kutafuta kama kuna cause ya hiyo headache. Hata anaweza kukuuliza na tumbo unaumia ama iko namna gani. And then out of that anakupatia prescription. Anakuambia kwenda tumia hii for 5 days, and then ukipona sawa. Kama hakuna change, come back. Let me tell you, prescription ya governance, it ought not to take that. Nafikiri mambo ya expand the executive in the name of inclusivity or in the name of giving people space, I think I have my own reservations there. because what has been done will not solve the problem. It creates even another problem, and that problem I do not know. But Wanjiku is going to say something about that. But to have an office, what's the big deal about it? But if you are solving a problem, you must say to yourself, nikiweka huyu mtu hapa ama nikiweka hapa ita solve a problem gani? So in the light of the thematic area ya inclusivity, ile tulikuwa na agonize over the winner take all. I say those who put it that way maybe waliona another issue which wataona ita maybe solve the problem. So I really, mimi ni kama Wanjiku sasa. Yeah,
na nimeona kama wewe Wanjiku ni kama you are not endorsing this document.
Sorry?
Naona kama wewe Wanjiku, ukiongea kama Wanjiku you are not endorsing it.
No. Let me tell you this. I'm talking as an individual.
Yes, and as I'm saying now, wewe kama Wanjiku, kama individual, your arguments do not endorse the document because you're actually poking holes in all these things. And these are very critical questions that must be asked. And that's why I agree with you when you come out and speak about these things. Yeah.
No, let me say this when we talk. Looking at the whole thing, I must say, hakuna document yeyote ambaye haina dosari. No document will come out na isemekane hakuna dosari. There are areas ambaye tuna compromise. Tunasema aisuru because we don't have anything better, wacha yende. Na si kusema kwamba document is perfect, lakini kuna that spirit of give and take. If we argue and argue, cows will come home and there is nothing ya kukamua hiyo ng'ombe nayo because we have not prepared the gourd. So the thing is this, kuna a stage where you and I will say this is give and take. Do it and I'll support you. If it works, it is for all of us. If it doesn't work, I will not blame you. But I will own it na tutatafuta njia ingine. Kama if daktari gives you medicine na isipokuponya, uwezi kurudi na kusema daktari wewe ni mbaya. Utamwambia daktari sichapona, anakutafutia dawa ingine. So in the same way, hii document, I'm not poking holes in it. I'm making comments. And the comments is not saying I disown or I don't like it. I'm just expressing kwa sababu
your observations as well.
Mtu ambaye atakuwa na shida kubwa sana ni yule civic educationist. Atakuwa na shida kubwa sana. Ataulizwa maswali na labda itakuwa ngumu kwake kujibu hiyo maswali kwa sababu hakuna proper I don't know, nili admit before kwamba sijui ni package aina gani imepeanwa kwa civic educators. But I can assure you challenge is going to be there. Yes. In
educating wananchi.
Yes.
All right. Wacha ndachukua simu ya Wanjiku wenyewe ambao mlienda kuchukua makura zao. So you're going to pick your calls. Bunge la Mwananchi tunaifungua. Bunge la Mwananchi iko wazi. 0779-800-010. 0779-800-010. You can call in and contribute to the discussion that's going on. 0779-800-010. Tunachukua simu kwa dakika 10 ambayo inakuja ili tuweze kuzungumza na nyinyi, then we'll roll in the next discussion. As you're waiting for your calls as well, I would want to give let me just see if I can go through it. The comments are so much and I would not want to sound discriminative by reading comments. Other comments are leaving out some, but I'll just read very quickly. Abbas anasema, so in short, we'll again run around after 10 years to change the constitution. Mondi umesema BBI are likely to polarize the country further. Richo Oyer Ndungu Gadon say one of the BBI isn't for it. Who am I to waste time only to get an headache? Kipkema kusema whether you like it or not is the issue based and gives chance to various platforms. That's why I'm here. I think he was replying to someone. Naona Felix Lele kunasema expanding executive can solve the problems. I agree with you. Roger anasema this mzee is smart. Na pia Purity Wanjiku kazi yake ni kelele, baadaye atapiga kura na mambo yake imeishia hivyo tu. Anasema mzee is unmasking it in a very diplomatic way, but this is how 2022 will look like. Some IBC commissioners will come out and say we counted the votes but we are not given enough time to add a total. Quite interesting comment there, right there. Naona pia jamaa, I don't know if your records are coming true. Anyway, naona kuna Ndungu anasema it's possible that even Baba is holding his own written BBI which is unreachable. Interesting. Anasema why that's interesting affair the whole man. Okay. Pia anasema asante sana. some comments are replies, some other comments, so I cannot really read them pretty much. Patrick can say, why must this thing pass before 2022? Can we go slow and do the right thing? Why were they forced to sign hurriedly? I think those are questions that are being raised around your reservations. All right, we're going to take your call 0779-800-010 or 779-800-010. Tachukua simu zenu or 779-800-010. Even as we move to that, there's something I want you to comment on IBC. The IBC, they're saying that commissioners are going to come from political parties. You're talking about polarization of a country. What's your feeling? Because I can only imagine if me as a party, I have a Bitok Party of Kenya, and you have Seii Party of Kenya. Alafu wewe wangu anatangaza umeshinda kura, alafu wako pia wanatangaza umeshinda kura. No, what could happen anyway? Wacha tusikie mwananchi anasemaje. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. Ni Andrew.
Yes, Andrew.
From hapa Rongai.
Tuambie Andrew haraka upesi.
Andrew Kibet.
Yes Andrew. Vipi? Aya, tuulize maswali yako mbio kwa sababu ya line ndefu.
Okay, nauliza.
Yes.
Kama hii kitu. Who was calling the shots?
Okay, who was calling the shots?
Yeah, kwa nini kwa nini wao kupewa nafasi ya kusoma kwanza before?
All right, asante. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. This is Reynold Mutai.
Yes, Reynold.
Yes, and I'd like to contribute something about in the talk regarding the BII and how they are elaborated.
Okay, we are here. Haraka upesi kwa sababu ya wakati.
Well, one thing that the reservations have been made is that the process has been so clear, but the end result is coming out to be very bad. And the reason this is happening is because maybe there are other intentions to maybe, not necessarily polarize the country, but introduce sections that are going to be very divisive to the general public. So the Wanjiku will not be able to see this clearly, but definitely is going to lose.
Okay. All right. You feel Wanjiku ndiye ataenda kupoteza at the end of the day? The process has not been as open, as transparent as possible.
Exactly. Wanjiku is going to lose at the end of the day because remember that the expansion of the executive is not going to solve a thing so far because looking at the historical issues, we've never, even when you had the Grand Coalition government, there was not so much that you're saying that it affected them.
Okay. All right. Good morning.
Good morning, Bitok.
Good morning to you, sir.
This is Chepkwen speaking from Kawangware.
Yes, Chepkwen. Bio.
I have a question from there. He had an opportunity to say no, despite the fact that he was between a hard space and a rock. He could have stood his ground, say no, and leave the document as it is. Then he could have been having a basis of raising his concerns. Now it is too late. The document is out. We are fighting the document outside here, and Muse is now telling us the truth. He could have said no on Friday. We had the whole weekend to get this fact. Before Tuesday, when the document was announced by the president, the president or the people who are organizing could have considered giving Muse and the other members time to review it. Number two, Muse and the team had a very big problem. They could have rejected the committee of experts appointed by the two principals, which means they had agendas that were driven from the two principals.
All right. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Gerald. My name is Victor Truman. I'm calling from Kericho. And I wanted just to be straightforward with Major Seii. Did we really needed the BII, first of all? What mischief is they trying to cure? Because constitutional reforms are mostly, pushed by two quarters, the political elite and the Wanjiku. Did Wanjiku wanted this document right now? Because our 2010 constitution, it was achieved through a lot of turmoil, a lot of bloodshed. It took us around 30 years to achieve this document. Is it really, quite in order to change this document within 2 years? And because clearly, these are, according to me, these are decisions of two people who went to a boardroom and thought, maybe we can talk of constitutional reforms. Are they eyeing for something else, or is it pro people?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Very quickly.
Yeah, this is Kotut, eh?
Yes, Kotut.
Yeah, I just wanted to raise some concerns. Maybe what I believe is that there is a signature of them there in the document. and that should have been given. The moment you sign the document, that indicates you are owning it. So if you raise an aspersion now, or you say that maybe that was not the right thing to do, then it spoils the reputation of even the Mzee himself. Mzee is a very respectable elder. He should stick to what he did when he put his signature in it.
All right. Thank you. All right. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Yes.
Yes. Very quickly.
Yes. This is Evanson, eh?
Yes, Evanson.
Yeah, for calling from Roysambu. I want to read my suggestions, eh?
Yes.
And I also want to ask a question about the process. First of all, I believe that we had no hurry in coming out with this document or passing it at this particular point in time. Number two, do we really need this BII? Because we have very, very many urgent issues that we need to deal as a country.
All right. Okay.
The
2010. All right. Good morning.
Good morning, Gerald.
Yes. Very quickly.
Yes, this is Andiek from Nyamira.
Yes, Wandieke.
Yes, asante sana kwa mzee.
Aha.
Sasa hii kitu mimi nasema, do we first need this BBI?
Kila swali tulikuwa tunahitaji. Haya, asante. Good morning.
Hello, morning.
Yes.
Mohamed hapa kutoka Nairobi.
Achamba Mohamed haraka.
Yangu ni kusema especially kwa hii issue ya BBI, ikiwa hiyo document hao wazee wote walikaa sana kwa heshima kubwa, hata huyo mzee wetu generali hapo Major retired.
Yes.
Na mzee Yusuf Haji. Wao ndio wazee wakubwa pale. Ikiwa hii kitu walikuwa wamezunguka the 47 counties na wakasema kwamba wana collect views ya wananchi. Imekuwaje tena wametumia taxpayers ya watu na wamekuja na hakuna views ya wananchi ambayo imewekwa hapo?
Ndio swali anauliza pia.
Ndio hata sisi sasa tunamuuliza mzee mwenyewe kwanza Seii hapo na tunamuuliza kwa heshima. Kwa hiyo hii kitu ni kitu ambayo inafanywa kiubinafsi, ni watu ambao wanaifanya kwa niaba yao na iwasaidie wao. Mimi sioni chochote hapo ya mwananchi.
Haya, asante sana Mohamed. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Bwana Bitoko.
Good morning to you. Haraka.
Mimi ni Abraham Koech kutoka hapa Eldoret.
Yes,
lakini niko na swali moja kwa mzee Major Seii. Kwamba kama yeye ako on the same opinion with other task force members, kwamba this document is not the original document, and ama ni opinion yake yeye mwenyewe binafsi, kwamba anaona ama ni maoni yake. Are they in cooperation together with other task force members?
Okay, kama wanasikizana na task force members kwa pamoja kwamba hii document iko na shida?
Yes.
Alright, asante. Nasikia maneno ya Wanjiku wako.
Wameongea.
Nasikia vile Wanjiku wako wanazungumza.
I appreciate all those questions. They are really pertinent questions.
So maybe we'll just take you through some of the questions ambazo zimekuwa raised na Wanjiku. Unajua Wanjiku sasa ni yeye mwenye alienda akakuongelesha huko kwa hall. Akamwambia vile anataka. Kwanza watu wanauliza ni nani who was calling the shots in this process? Ni nani alikuja akasema sasa hiki kitu ni kidole sasa imeenda. Kwa sababu I think it was supposed to be an all inclusive process. Ya kwamba wewe mzee ulikuwa unasikia kwamba umehusika kwa ukubwa na yale mambo yalikuwa yanafanyika, ulikuwa unasikia kwamba I'm okay, I'm satisfied with the process. Is it that there was someone else who was pushing the agenda?
Na sitaki kusukumia jambo fulani hapo kusema ni fulani na fulani. Ile jambo ambayo nimesema ni hii kwamba tumeitwa na tukaambiwa there is no time. Na hata mimi logically there was no time. The reverse of this is why be called on a day when there is no more time to read the document. Why not before?
When there was time.
When there was time. So hiyo ninaachia hapo. Sitaki
kuisongeza kupita.
Kama ilikuwa tu that was the way the situation was, then imeenda hivyo.
It's gone.
Imeenda hivyo.
Kuna swali pia ya the process. Do you feel the process was open enough kwa Wanjiku? Was the process open enough?
No, nilisema pale mbeleni that there was no other way other than the system tulitumia ku collect information. Na nilisema in every county, depending on the number of counties, every sub county ilileta watu 20. So really, I think that the process was representative.
The process of making BBI too.
It was well done. The plan was very good. Now, let me say this. Wanjiku, and not once or twice, but many times, walisema hii ni nafasi ya kipekee. Wanjiku amepewa nafasi kusimama na ku-express views. Some of them were even off course, you know, from the 9 thematic areas. They were talking about their own personal issues. Lakini wanasema, jameni, it is always the other way round. Watu wakubwa wanakuja, wanasema sikizeni wananchi, lazima mfanye namna hii, mfuate namna hii. Lakini this time round, tunawauliza jambo hili mnaonaje? It was even like an ambush to them, because we did not give them a notice of 5 days na kusema tumewatumieni some summary of what we are going to ask you. Tunapeana on the very day, na ni kwa sababu ya logistics. I don't blame anybody on that. But Wanjiku alisema nimepewa nafasi ya kipekee ni express myself. And that is why we captured so much from Wanjiku that tuki abridge the report, Wanjiku hatajiona pale na atasema sasa nimesahaulika, hakuna mtu ananijali. Lakini hiyo line moja kusema Wanjiku alisema hii, you know, even in our original report tulikuwa unaandika hata unasema ni fulani alisema jambo hili. Of course it can be a very tedious report. There must be somebody ambaye atafanya summary. But capture the spirit of Wanjiku.
Alright.
Yes.
So nakauliza swali nyingine pia hapa, wanauliza, did we really need BBI?
Well, now that BBI has come, or it came, that question becomes redundant.
Okay, because it's already here. All right. I also to ask you, wameuliza, umesema ya kwamba you guys were told you're going to sign this document, and you feel that you didn't have enough time to go through the document before you sign it. And they are saying, sir, you had an opportunity to say, no, I'm not going to sign it. Why did you choose to sign it?
But
something that was going to violate your conscience.
Niseme hivi.
And I apologize for the hard questions. Uko nimekuuliza maswali ngumu ukose kuja tena tackle. Ndio maana inaitwa tackle, because you get tackled. Well, my apologies.
Let me tell you, do not apologize, Gerald. I like this because not that I know everything, but the much I know, I will not sort of reserve unless it is necessary. Unajua shida iliyoko, watu wengi hata it's good this country hakuna so many fans ya football, whether it is Man U or Chelsea ama zile zingine za nchi zingine, and watu wana follow religiously, but they become so critical to the players. Nasema yule amekosea pale, angescore namna hii, yule alikuwa slow. Wana describe, because you see you are not on the ground. You are an observer, you are a spectator. We have many people who sincerely look at this thing from that gallery kind of setup, and they are seeing the players down there. I don't blame them asking the question, why did you sign if you felt it was not correct? I have never said the report was not correct. And I have not said anybody forced me or forced us. We signed in what you call trust, kwamba hakuna kitu imebadilishwa. And so we sign with that in mind. That
this is what we had given out.
That is that tuliambiwa hii report ni ile mlikuwa mmesema. Bas na kwa sababu there was no time, and again I've agonized over time. I've said whether it was deliberate, I do not know. Whether it was circumstantial, I have no idea.
Yes, but it's already happened.
But the time was not there. We signed, and
that is what it is.
And my signature is there.
Okay, so let me ask you another question that I've been asked. You are a committee. You are a committee of people as a member of task force. First of all, was that task force inclusive? Do you feel it was inclusive enough, the conversation that were going on there? Because there have been arguments that there could be other people who are pushing under agendas. Was it inclusive?
Well, it was representative. And it was also inclusive. We went to many places. I must say nearly 50% counties, vijana walisimama who are in the audience. Na wakaangalia sisi wakasema tunaona nyinyi nyote ni wazee. Wapi kijana hapo? So the only answer by chairman wetu alipeana akasema kijana, don't worry about it, kwa sababu we are representing you. One time tulikuwa vijana kama wewe. So we are not out of touch. Na
lakini kijana wa leo ni kijana wa kitambo kweli mzee?
No.
Wewe ulienda World War. Sisi ama jamaa ile wao wanaenda iko kwa computer.
The point is this. The 9 thematic areas needed really mature, sober-minded people because they were very, very serious issues. Ukienda ethos, kijana atasema nini juu ya ethos? Ukienda vitu vingine ambayo tuna refer to the country 20 years ago, 50 years ago, vijana wanasoma hizo vitu in books. So with all due respect, we wanted, that's why in all the forums tulisema vijana lazima wawe pale so that they also learn. It was not the matter as a matter of fact, vijana waliuliza tu maswali mawili if I remember very well. Wanauliza wapi kijana katika hii kamati? Na ya pili walisema sasa tunasoma alafu tunahangaika hatuna kazi, and they give us very bad examples. Wanasema kijana fulani yako na degree na anauza hisa hoka, anauza nini fruit na nini in the street. Tulisomea really matunda ama nini, and it was hurting because we are saying where are the jobs for the young people? How are we going to generate these jobs? So therefore, umeuliza mambo ya inclusivity. Tulikuwa, it was inclusive in a way that we could not have everybody. Kwa sababu, whether it was because of budget, whether it was because of whatever, I do not know who sat and say 14 people.
Alright.
Lakini pale tulipoketi, tukasema, hata wale ambao hawako
tutawarepresent.
Alright.
So you've the issues that you're raising about the process and the report itself, do your fellow members, task force members, agree with you on the issues that you're raising? Have they also raised the same issues?
Nafikiri we have a task here. Mimi kama Major Seii, I've not called for a press conference na kusema nina jambo. Ni nyinyi watu wa media wananiita. Unaniita na kusema mzee kuna nini hapa?
Nataka kutusukumia hivi maneno mzee.
So to answer your question,
wale wengine hawajapata nafasi ya kuzungumza.
Wale wengine hawajapata, na labda wengine wamepata nafasi.
Ndio watafuta sasa.
Hawajapata nafasi ama hawajaitwa ama kama waliitwa the agenda ilikwisha pale. Haikuenda beyond. I do not know I don't know why when it came to my case imekuwa all over the place. But I don't mind. I have always spoken my mind. I'm a patriot of this country. There was a time I said I will pay the defense of this country with my own blood so that Wanjiku down there can live in peace.
Wow.
So the level of commitment yangu could be much higher than the rest. But from a different perspective, unajua kila mtu amezaliwa tofauti. Na ile experience, kwanza wale team ambayo tuko nayo, wako na vast experience, most of them. Lakini kila moja ni line yake peke yake. Yangu mi binafsi, I'm a patriot. And as old as I am, this country is mine. And I'm prepared even to defend at my age. Wow. Because I love my country.
That's amazing. Mzee, makofi kwa hiyo. Vijana inafaa wasikie maneno. Mzee is prepared even at this age. You are prepared to die for your country. All right, as we wind up, as we are heading towards the end, I have to ask you how many questions? 4. Number 1. And this is from a perspective of the report that I've read. Kwa sababu najua kuna mkutano pia. Mambo ya Senate. The Senate in the report, in the BBI document 2, has been disempowered. What do you think about that? Was it part of Barriwa Wanjiku's proposal? that
the answer there is Wanjiku did not even talk
never
about
say that.
Never
Right.
say that.
Number 2, the independence of judiciary. Like we are pulling in the ombudsman who is going to oversee the operations of judiciary. Where did that come from?
The question of ombudsman and where to put, those are two different things. And I think hatukuchambua hiyo sana because the independence of judiciary all along, for us, it was the key. And we said judiciary must be totally independent. And that's why maneno ya ombudsman, we didn't have time really kuchambua vizuri, because we knew for judiciary iwe independent, ombudsman must be in a position where he's not receiving
Instructions
orders from the executive. That was we did not.
So you have reservations on that as well.
Yeah.
Now, the formation of police commission, and the commission is going to report to the CS, and then now the police report to the commission. Do you think we are getting back to the control of the police by the state?
I must confess, even me as a citizen of this country, nilipoona hiyo nikajiuliza maswali kama discuss that matter, and I don't remember us going deep into it. There were issues that IPOA must remain independent, and so to be answerable to somebody else, you usurp that status of independence. Yes.
All right. I like the way you're answering them. Very sharp, like a soldier that you are. Now, another question. Let's look at the executive. The president becomes... We are trying now to fix the issues of winner take it all. Now we are coming out with a formula of, I don't know, but I feel maybe winner takes everything. The president is voted in. He becomes president with his deputy, which also the BII report is very silent on. Picks the prime minister and the deputy prime ministers from the majority party, which is probably his party. He has the powers to fire and to hire them, whatever it feels like. My question is, are we creating an imperial president?
Of course, we did not ask ourselves about the imperial president, but we were thinking of a president that is functioning, that is the head of state and is the commander-in-chief. And so akona power zake. Now, when we read too much into it, definitely it gives the picture that is an imperial president. And when we use the word imperial, this is where sometimes I think we go wrong. We are, I know we have borrowed and we have kuna maneno ambayo names ambayo tunatumia. Ukitumia imperial, it gives even a colonial spirit around it, kwamba huyu is a colossus figure, kazi yake ni kupeana orders na nini. But there must be an order in a society. There must be a person who calls the shots.
So you agree with that structure?
So the structure, I have no problem with it.
You don't have a problem with the structure? Yeah. You feel the structure is quite okay? Yeah. Okay. Now let's look at you're a member of the task force that came up with the BII report. That you're telling Kenyans, here is the report. We want you guys to read and vote for it or to endorse it. You are the one who came, you're part of the people who sat there, you're part of the committee that came up with it, but you're complaining that you are not given time.
Yes.
Now, there's a convention that is coming up, especially at Bomas. The other day, you saw the altercations that went about when the deputy president came out to speak. And he was saying there are questions that we must ask, and we must look at having a consensus around this document. Let's make the amends and find a way to have a document that is agreeable to all of us. Raila Odinga, the president in Naivasha, they had a retreat, which was seen to be partisan because it was from one part of the divide. And they have said that there is no time to look and amend the document. As a member of task force ambayo ulikuwa jikoni ukipika, hata unasema hukuwa na wakati wa kuweza kuiangalia. Nao tuko na viongozi ambao wanaambiwa kwamba there is no time for amendment. We are closing that discussion. What does that make you feel? What do you feel about that?
Well, really, in a very simplistic manner or a thought, I said, is there a connection between us not having time to go through the report and what was again discussed in Naivasha and say there is no time?
No, what I'm saying is the pain. You yourself, you are saying that you're not given time.
Yes.
Now we're having a group of people saying also, let's have a consensus. But they are being told the discussion has been closed. Yani wamesema meli menoa nanga.
Sawa.
Yes.
Now, I have a very strong view on that. Building bridges, as far as we are concerned, we the 14 plus the 2, ni kujenga daraja between this side and the other side. And I don't want to describe this side ni nani, the other side ni nani. But whoever on this is on this side na nani yako pande ile ingine, lazima tujenge daraja so that sisi wote tuna interact. Now, what happened in Naivasha, and I say this not as BBI, but as a Kenyan, as a true patriot, we cannot say we are moving forward with BII report, and yet BBI is talking about building bridges. So it negates the spirit of working together, of talking together, of deciding together, of having everybody on board, of creating the spirit of consensus. Kwamba hata kama kuna tofauti fulani, there is a way ambayo tunasema this is give and take. Kwa sababu no one is 100% perfect and no one is 100% wrong. All of us, we have something to contribute. It is to create the environment. It is to create the climate of interacting together and interrogating the issue. So when they came out of Naivasha and say imekuwa closed, we are moving forward, and na kuna watu wengine kule nje, ile spirit ya BBI is lost. So BBI is not, the spirit of BBI cannot go along. And I'm saying this is a very serious thing I'm saying, and I know it will raise other questions. But I want, when people raise a question on that, let them raise a question on me as Major Seii, not as BBI. But I want to emphasize this. Sisi 14 ambaye tulitembea, tulisema Mungu atusaidie tujenge madaraja so that wakati wa siasa, wakati wa dividing the cake, wakati wa kufanya nini, we are all together and we are all talking to each other. Na hakuna watu wanaenda kule jikoni wanapika chakula na wanakuletea nusu na wamekula ile ingine. Everything must be transparent. Na kwa hivyo kufunga na kusema maneno imefungwa kule Naivasha, for me personally, with the spirit of BBI, I did not agree with it.
All right. So what's the way forward now? So
I think the way forward is for the proponents of mambo ya referendum to create space na kusema jameni, kama move too fast, let us hold, let's wait for you, let us come. Muje mutuambie what is it that we are not carrying with us. So lazima kuweko dialogue, lazima kuweko what somebody said, robust conversation, because we lacked a robust conversation in this thing. Na kwa sababu tulisema this document, it will take care of this country, not for 10 years, not for 20 years, but from 50 to 100 years.
For posterity.
So, kwa hivyo, when you are thinking ahead like that, you must make something that is going to last. And the thing that will last is something that everybody will come on board na kusema, yes, this is what we want. So that tusiende mambo ya yes and no. Na tukienda yes and no, wale ambao watasema no na washinde, wale wakisema yes na washinde, there will be a problem, because above the country is already divided.
The bridge will be broken.
So hiyo building bridges, sisi 14, hata even if they are not with me here, we have one thing in mind, united Kenya, under all circumstances. In this case, Kenya has been divided.
All right. In this case, as we stand right now, the situation is Kenya is divided between two parts that are saying yes and no, consensus, no consensus, closed, it's still open. I want to give you 1 minute, sir, to speak to Kenyans, specifically Kenyans. They're close.
Well, my fellow Kenyan, ninazungumza kama mzee, na si kama mimi ni mzee wa mji, nimeona mengi katika nchi yetu. Ile kitu ambayo tunahitaji ni kusikizana katika maongeo yeyote kuhusu development ya nchi yetu. Lakini pila ya nchi yeyote ni amani na uwiano. Tukikaa kwa amani tutasikizana. Tukiwa pamoja, united, integrated na cohesive society, we will move forward. Yangu ni kusema wacha siasa isitukawanye, kabila isitukawanye, tujenge Kenya moja kama vile BBI team walitembelea kila mahali, na tukasema mambo ya unity of a country, na tukumbuke kwamba ethos setu, yani ile maadili mema, hiyo ni nguzo ya nchi yeyote, na Mungu awabariki.
Thank you so much, Mzee. That's powerful. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it was quite hectic to have you here, but we appreciate, and we wish to have more of your teammates as well, so that we can continue having this conversation. Asante sana Mzee for coming. Thank you so much. I appreciate the honor. Mungu akubariki na Mungu akaendelee kulinda ili uweze kuendelea kutuambia barabara gani tunaenda. For all the talkers who have joined us this morning, thank you so much for being patient with us and having this conversation with us. Na wamesema ya kwamba wamekusikiza na wamesema they appreciate the wisdom that you give them. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. This is the tackle ends now, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye. We love you. Ulikuwa na nini nyingine?
That's a big talk.
Yes, sir. Kesho ni weekend. Tackle iko kesho weekend. Unajua nimezoea tackle mpaka nikijua kila siku asubuhi lazima nikuje tackle. Poleni sana. Na tackle nitaka break for the weekend. We'll come back again on Monday. Nataka kuambia kwamba tackle has nothing but love for you guys. Thank you. That's why tunasema hata tukue kesho tena. Asante sana. Have a good day. Enjoy your weekend, by the way. The weekend will come back again on Monday. We'll have a conversation. Thank you so much. Bye bye. The tackle ends now.